Arsenal guys for bringing down the latest shirt that they have of me, which is very nice. They brought me some. My kids wanted them, so I thank them for that. And I see the Browns already purging their front office. They're keeping Hugh Jackson for another year. There was a lot of talk of whether Hugh Jackson would go back to the Bengals if he got jettisoned from the team. But despite the losses, which have piled up in an incredible number for Hugh Jackson, sounds like he's going to get to come back next year, but they've already started to purge the front office, which means if you're wondering what they're going to do for the draft, they have no idea either because they have nobody running the franchise right now. Anthony in Port Chester, what's up, Anthony?
Hey, Mike, I have a point about the college football playoffs, but first, will you be doing any segments on the fan after you leave,
No,
like
will
phone
not.
calls?
None.
Okay. All right.
Zero.
I
might do. There's a question of where I'm going to do my picks for the rest of the season. I've had a couple of invitations, including one from Bill Simmons to do it on his podcast, which I might do. I also might do them on the Good Morning Football show. I haven't decided yet, so I'll let you know before I leave where they're going to be, but they'll be somewhere.
Okay. My point's about Georgia. You know, they showed up against Auburn. They played really well. They stopped the outside attack.
Yeah, they shut Auburn up is what they did. Auburn went in the game banged up. That was going to be an impossible game for Auburn to win back-to-back that way.
Yeah, I agree.
And they came out of the game very banged up with Alabama, and that's why you thought Georgia would win. But Auburn also shut their mouths off, which was not a good idea. They talked about how badly they beat Georgia the first time, and Georgia wanted them. They really did. Plus, Auburn had two critical injuries in that game, which really cost them. So it was a good win for Georgia. I think Georgia is the least of the four teams that I would expect to win the championship. I think
that quarterback is a freshman. You got to give it. He's playing like a senior.
He's playing well, but I just don't think they match up well, and I do think the Alabama-Clemson winner will win the championship.
Okay. Thanks,
and I think that's the two best teams anyway. I think Clemson's probably the best team this year, but the Alabama-Clemson winner, I think, will win the championship. Sean joins us. What's up, Sean?
Mike, what's happening?
What's happening, man?
Yeah, just before you go, I just want to say thanks for getting Philly for all your good knowledge and stuff. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you. What's going on?
In regards to this week's Eagles-Rams game, it's amazing how 1 year can obviously make a difference, but I wanted to know, between Wentz and Goff, who would you rather have over the next 10 years?
Wentz. I like him better. I think he's got more talent. I think I like what they're doing with the Ram quarterback. They're asking the Ram quarterback to take more to the line of scrimmage than just about any quarterback I've seen in a long time. He's doing a lot at the line of scrimmage for a young quarterback. They're schooling him almost the way Peyton Manning was schooled, as a matter of fact. So they are asking him to really be very involved in the game plan. He's doing a lot at the line of scrimmage. But I like the Eagle quarterback better. I think he's physically better, and I just think he's a better player. I think he's a better athlete. I think he's a better player. Now, I think the Rams are a better team. I think right now their 3 units are better than the Eagles' 3 units. And I also think they're sounder coached than the Eagles are. So I would not be surprised at all if the Rams beat them on Sunday. As a matter of fact, I think they probably will. I think if they played in the playoffs, it'd be pretty much an even game because I like the quarterback better on the Eagles, but I think I like the other things better on the Rams. I think the Ram coach has been ultra. I was one who was very skeptical of him already getting a head coaching job. I have to admit he has been incredibly impressive. His team looks good. They're crisp. They don't make a lot of dumb mistakes. He turned his defense over to a guy where he didn't have to think about the defense once, which was very smart, which reminded me of what Holmgren did in Green Bay when he turned his defense over to Fritz Shermer, or what Ditka had to do with the Bears where he didn't have to think about the defense once and it was Buddy Ryan's. So when you do that and you don't have to think about that side of the ball, and it allows you also to lean on a guy who's been a multiple-time head coach, I think it's very good for a young coach because, first of all, the defense coordinator doesn't want his job. He's already been a head coach. He's getting paid $1 million or more to be the defensive coordinator. He's being well taken care of. He gets the guys he wants. He gets the guys he wants to come to dress that day. He doesn't have to fight for roster spots. He doesn't have to fight to get certain guys dressed. He gets what he wants. So he's almost treated like a head coach. a lot of times you're on a unit and you don't get the guys you want. You don't get the depth you want. You have to fight for certain guys to get them dressed that week. He doesn't have any of that stuff. He gets what he wants from that team, and that makes a very big difference in their productivity. Jimmy in Seaside, what's up, Jimmy?
Hey, Mike, I just want to say, first of all, real quick, thank you so much, man, for everything you've done. It's very difficult to put your opinion out there. Like, we all talk sports in the garage and this, that, at work. You talk sports on the radio for everybody to hear, put your opinion out there, and we just get to listen and try to find out where you made a mistake or whatever, and that's the joy of it all these years. Just listen to you. You do a great job.
Thank you.
And I move on to the Giants. I thought it was crazy with Eli, prior to all this, what happened, what transpired, how he had all these critics, he's overrated, he's this, he's that. You saw the articles, and it was amazing how, it was 100% turnaround. His jersey sales this week have, went skyrocketed.
Well, what you heard from the vocal 25% who were angry with him, who are always angry at every one of their players whenever they're not winning. And now you heard from the 75% who loved him and never said a word. So now now you heard from them because now there's been a backlash the other way, and you found out how popular he was. So you never would have known how popular Eli was till after he left if this hadn't happened. Now they're going to shower him with devotion. Now everyone's going to love him forever. It happens. There's always with certain careers, there's a metamorphosis. There just is. Sometimes it's a guy comes to the team that impacts the team. I'll give you the example of Marlon Maris. Okay, the Yankee fans used to boo Mantle because he'd strike out in big spots or he'd be moody or whatever, and they expected so much from him. Once Maris came to the team and started hitting home runs, and now they're in home run chases and stuff, Mantle could do no wrong. It was all, how dare anybody even challenge our guy? So now, from the point Maris stepped his head of the dugout with the Yankees, Mantle never got booed again. So sometimes it can be a player, sometimes it can just be something that happens, or you start to get to a point where you finally appreciate what you have in the player. People are critical of every player and every coach until they're gone. Now, this time you got a chance to see what life would be like without him, and now everybody loves him. Matt in Westchester, what's up, Matt?
Hey, Mike, did you see the news online yesterday? Rafael Palmeiro is making a comeback, 53 years old.
I did not see that, and I can't wait to see it. I'm really excited about it. Matter of fact, really, it'd be very exciting. And no one would speculate what he's doing either. What his regimen is or anything else. I'm sure would not come under any scrutiny at all. Greg in Long Island, what's up, Greg?
Hey, Mike, what's happening? That was pretty funny what that guy just said. But, Mike, yes, I heard your interview with Cashman.
Yes.
It sounds like he has a lot of input in the managerial decision.
He does.
And who plays and who doesn't play.
Right.
Now,
all the teams are that way now. They're all running their teams the same way. I'm telling you, the front offices are now very much involved in the day-to-day operation of the teams, much more than they used to be.
You think that's that's why they wouldn't really need a bench coach?
No, they'll need a bench coach. I mean, listen, you still have to, Cash isn't going to be sitting down, whether or not they're going to, utilize the hit and run or the bunt. I mean, he's not going to be doing that. But what they do now is they're involved day to day in lineup decisions, in whether they're going to bench a player, what the rotation is, stuff like that. Who's the first guy out of the pen? Here's how we're going to set up our bullpen rotation. All the things and remember, you're getting an incredible amount of information on each guy now. This starting pitcher, be careful when he passes 100 pitches. His efficiency falls off dramatically. This guy's good for this. This guy can only do this. And they go in with preconceived notions now, and what the manager has to deal with is, am I looking at a day where I think the guy is going to pitch through what the numbers say he should do? So is this guy blowing people away? And now, instead of taking him out when I go rotate the order for the third time, because every time they rotate the order for the third time, the other team hits 400 against them. Okay, it goes up 150 points. So we don't let him hit the third time. We don't let him pitch the third time against the order. So now he's pitching a one-hitter and he's, got 9 strikeouts. Do I let him go against the order for the third time? That kind of stuff is where the manager has to go up against the analytics that he faces and the analytic that's been programmed for him. So these guys now get so much information, and the guys are so involved. I'll give you a perfect example. I walked into Terry Collins' office before the Yankee-Met game. He had no infielders. So he told me, guess what? Cespedes is going to play third base. I said, that should be interesting. He said he came in, he volunteered, I'm going to play him at third. The game starts, Dano's at third base. I'm like, I just finished telling people Cespedes is going to play third base. What's going on here? So I asked Terry Collins what happened. He says, general manager said I can't play him at third base. So he was playing him at third base. Cespedes volunteered to play third base. And Sandy said, you're not playing Cespedes at third base. So they played Dano at third base because they didn't have any infielders that night. They were all hurt. Perfect example. He was playing Cespedes at third base. Cespedes wanted to play third base. Front office said, no way. Front office wins. So that's just it happens now everywhere. Now, it doesn't happen with Buck Showalter. Might not happen yet with Mike Scioscia. Joe Torre used to get very upset about it. Cash even admitted that yesterday, and I knew that for a fact because Joe told me that. So, I knew Joe used to go back and forth about this stuff with the analytics. He didn't love it. So now it's changed. It's much more advanced than it was when Joe was here. Joe's been gone now a decade, so baseball's changed a lot in that decade. Now everybody deals with it, and it's funny because Girardi was known as the binder. He was, a guy who, he was going to pinch hit a guy who was 5 rate against this guy no matter what. That was what he was going to do. Or this guy gets this guy out every time, so that's the matchup he wants. So he would always go by the matchup, what the stats said. He was pretty much programmed that way. And that's why they called him the binder. His head was always in the binder. So it showed that he was involved in the numbers anyway. But there's those numbers, and then there's the overwhelming statistical analysis that you're using now, that the front offices now are so immersed in all the different stuff, whether it's graphics that show you where to play defensively, stuff on how to pitch to certain guys, all different things that they have, and they want managers to utilize this stuff, and the front office wants to be involved in everything until the game starts. And then Cash says, when the game starts, the manager manages the game. Okay? But a lot of the stuff's not left to chance anymore. A lot of the stuff is there, and it's pretty much established and programmed that that's the way the game's going to unfold, and that's it. And they don't buck it all that much anymore. Back after this.